Iron and Infrastructure Podcast Introduction. The podcast that ties together fitness and construction, shifting the industry narrative and giving insight on how to become a business owner while living life under the bar, weightlifting, personal development, the infrastructure industry, and how to merge the two worlds to achieve prosperity. I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery. All stand and applaud, please.
This episode is brought to you by R&R Pipeline, an infrastructure company. Our purpose? Enhancing America's infrastructure with a safety-driven, integrity-led culture that provides an environment for team members to grow and thrive. Top Fuel 5, 9 life lessons I learned from my cat. So just recently, unfortunately, my cat had passed away. He had been sick for a couple months, but finally it's time for him to move on to better things. Within that reflection period of about a week or so, it was very painful actually for me to have to endure that in such a different way than what I would have ever expected. So 16 and a half years ago, one of my first job sites I was working on, I actually rescued this cat in some form or fashion, or he rescued me. I'm not sure exactly yet. Regardless, I was on a job site. The cat was left outside basically to die, had been abused his, short few months on earth to that point. It was fairly obvious by the way he was treated and whatnot. And I randomly put some lunch meat and water out on a Friday afternoon, and he ate like a pound of ham, deli meat, drank a whole bunch of water, and we were getting ready to leave. He actually hopped in the truck that I was riding back in. And I remember he hopped in the dump truck. He'd crawled under the seat. I wasn't even driving. I don't remember who was, but he crawled under the seat and there was no getting him out of there. I tried and tried and tried. And so I just said, you know what, screw it. He wants to go that bad. He can go back with me. I'll take him in because obviously he's not being treated good. So I always said that I rescued him. And years later, I come to find out maybe he kind of rescued me. He was kind of my companion through 18 to 34 of me becoming a man and realizing what reality was then, and now looking back what the reality is of my situation. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I know the honest side of it now. I know the reality of it, and that little guy helped create a lot of good times for me when there weren't a lot of good times to be had. Within that, I realized, never take little moments for granted, because one day you won't be able to. So I always thought, he would be there when I get home, hear him through the night. I used to call him Thumper because he'd be up all night, just thumping through the house. I took all the moments for granted for the longest time until I knew that I was only going to have a few left with him. Because of him being sick, we were told by the vets, you only have a few weeks left at best. So I started to appreciate every moment that I could. And then I had some regret by taking the little moments for granted from the past. And anybody with kids can understand this. Life gets in the way. Life gets complicated. And it's easy just to take that moment for granted. And I've done that myself. And now, one of the lessons that I learned from my cat is don't take the moments for granted, because you don't get them back when they're gone. Someday they will go away. Everything has a lifespan. Everything has a time that it ends. Don't take them for granted. Enjoy every little moment along the journey. The third thing I learned from my cat, everything happens for a reason and everybody has a season. And there was a reason that cat jumped in that dump truck that day. 18 years old on my first job site in a pit of hell in the Ohio Valley. And sure enough, that guy jumps in there, and I was still living at my parents' house at the time. I was still living with my dad. I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school, and I never had my own animal that was mine. And that guy was there from being a boy to understanding that I was a boy, to understanding I'm not a man, to becoming a man, and to the person I am today. A lot of things have changed in 16 years. And that guy was there for the whole entire journey, from lost 18-year-old to finding myself at 34 and understanding truly who I am. And maybe it's ironic that this year has been the year of growth and the year of coming into truly understanding myself. And maybe his work was done. It was his time to go. Along the way, it's been very, very fun to have him there. But I know that his season is over. His reason is no doubt to rescue me, but the season's over, and I'm thankful that I had that season. Next lesson, lesson 4, take the picture. You'll never regret it later. I still have hundreds of pictures of him with me, my wife, my kids, everyone. It's important to me that knows him or was close to me has a picture. And the pictures are, looking back now, very, very powerful. I took every picture I could, every video I could, down to the last minute. And I will forever have the memories and forever be grateful because of those memories. Just take the picture. You'll never regret it. It doesn't take long. Make the memory. Make the memory. 5th lesson. Sometimes events happen and the most unlikely companion comes out of nowhere. So I've met a few people in my life that were complete random introductions. No rhyme or reason why, no understanding why. And it was just meant to be. There wasn't anything I could do to stop it. It was just kind of thrown in your face, and I didn't understand it. But then one of the most unlikely companions came out of it. And I can think of a few instances, but definitely one with the cat. Don't question it sometimes. Sometimes just don't wonder why the events happen, because you might have the most unlikely companion come out of nowhere. And that leads right into the 6th point. Don't question everything in life. A lot of things take years to understand why. So a lot of things have happened, events have happened, and I never understood the why behind them. It doesn't mean that I needed to, I wanted to. So it doesn't matter. Don't question it. Sometimes just let it go. You'll appreciate it more during the journey. Don't question everything so you're not always over analyzing it. Don't question it. A lot of things take a long time to understand the reasoning behind them, and that's okay. Just embrace it. Take the journey. Don't ever overanalyze and over question a situation and ruin the journey itself. Next, never underestimate your value to others. So throughout the whole journey, my cat has been there. From moving into the trailer and buying my first house, it was a trailer, it was a hellhole. Moving to a house in town and then moving to the house I'm in now, my value to that cat was the same. I remember when I was working out of town, that little guy would break the door down once he heard my truck coming up, and he'd be waiting at the door for me and wouldn't leave my side all weekend. And I did not value him on the same scale as I used to, with having dogs, having kids, busy life, until the last few months. Again, I started to really kind of reconnect. And it wasn't that I ignored him or didn't care for him or anything like that. It's just I kind of took the moments for granted, and I underestimated his value a little, but I underestimated the value that he got from me. So I didn't apply myself there as much. The 8th lesson, take the risk. Just jump. How many times have you seen a cat and the cat's on the edge of a couch? It's looking to jump up on the countertop, and it's considering it, but majority of the time they jump. And I've seen my cat take so many crazy risks, and being a 30-pound fullback size cat, he just took all these risks and did all this craziness. And then when it started to slow down, a week or so before we had to put him down, he ended up not jumping. And it hit me like, man, he's always jumped. So the last one, never stop fighting. No matter what your state is in life, no matter what your diagnosis is, my cat had terminal illness. He probably outlived by a few weeks what he should have, and he never stopped fighting. And at the end, he could barely walk, could barely crawl, could barely do anything, but he never gave up. He never gave up. And in life's journey, I think one of the main things that we have to remember is that we can never stop fighting. Just a quick recap, the 9 lives lessons that I learned from my cat. I thought I rescued him, but he helped rescue me. Never take the little moments for granted, because one day you won't be able to. Everything happens for a reason. Everybody has a season. Take the picture. You'll never regret it. Sometimes events happen and the most unlikely companion comes out of it. Don't question everything in life. A lot of things take years to understand why. Never underestimate your values to others. Take the risk, just jump. And last but not least, never stop fighting. Top Fuel 5. Thanks.